Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
I am obsessed with Ulta Beauty's early Black Friday sale because I can find up to 40% off my beauty favorites each week. Shop deals like Tarte Shape Tape Concealer at 30% off. I'll also be gifting myself. And $15 cleansers from brands like Tula and Philosophy. Plus, up to 40% off select hair tools like the Revlon One Step Blow Dryer. Find the gifts that bring joy to everyone on your list this holiday, especially the gift you give yourself. Hurry in store or place your online pickup order today. Ulta Beauty. The possibilities are beautiful.
What's better than 2 end-zone sports bars? 3 end-zone sports bars. And we have you covered with our original location on University across from Red Lobster, in Jones Valley on Cecil Ashburn near Carl T. Jones, and our newest location in the Midtown District on McMurtry Drive opposite the Target Plaza. All locations feature the NFL Sunday Ticket, Tuesday half-price burgers, and Wednesday $1 jumbo wings all day long. You're never far from the end zone. End Zone Sports Bar.
This is Paul Feinbaum. Listen to me coming up today at 2. Now back to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are listening to the Thom Abraham Show. That was Bizarro World. Never had an issue like that before, I don't think. Welcome back, Thom Abraham Show. Sorry about that little 30-minute break in the show. Never had anything like that happen. We were down at Baumhauer's. I'm back in studio now. We were down at Baumhauer's, and for whatever reason, and I don't know why, but for whatever reason, everything disconnected between the station and the set at Baumhauer's. And couldn't get it right. Couldn't get it to work. So we're back here. So if you're at Baumhauer's, appreciate you hanging out, but we are back here in studio. All right, we got to reset everything. I don't even know when it went out. I'm going to tell you this. We're going to go open lines, so if you want to jump in, you can jump in. I know that my X feed is blowing up, and I don't know what that's about, and I know that there's been a lot of other messages. The text window blew up. I get that. Let me just tell you that in case you missed I don't know how long it was on for. Grizz is over there, and he's running around like a one-armed paper hanger in the studio and on the other side of the glass. Grizz, when did I disappear? How far had I gotten into this mess when I disappeared?
So realistically, I don't think we were –
Did I get to the Orange Bowl talk?
I don't even think we got to that, because at the point where you literally started and it was like the first 5 minutes into the show – I'm looking over, and it's just like it just cuts out.
Did I set up what the top tens are today?
No, you just keep talking. I think that's exactly to the point
where
we got to was the top 10.
Right.
And then you cut out, and then that's when like I had to start playing.
We were looking at each other.
You were talking, and I kept
You're
trying to call
me,
you.
And I'm like, why are you calling me, Chad? I'm on the Sports Talk radio show.
Multiple times while you were on.
All right, so
it was difficult.
Just to reset then. Let me just get everything reset. It is the top 10 Tuesday. All right, in today's Tuesday Top 10, we're giving you a little primer for the College Football Final Four. I'll try and get that in here. Now, the second hour is going to be now busier, and I only have 20 minutes or so left in this hour. But what I was saying was I can't believe the amount of butthurt that there is out there regarding Florida State being skipped by Tennessee or by Texas and Alabama. And that's what happened. All due respect to my former colleague, Matt Peralt, who tried to make the point on my Facebook page that if the committee had you at number 4 last week and you win the game like FSU did against Louisville, there's no way you should drop. Well, FSU did not drop. They got boat raced. Before the conference championships, Alabama had not beaten the number 1 team in the country and won the best conference in the country. And you could say, "Oh, wow, wait a minute, the SEC was down this year. Look at those non-conference losses." Yeah, The league was down a bit this year. It was down a bit this year. But just because the SEC was down a bit doesn't mean that they weren't still the best conference in the country. They were still the best conference in the country. You go conference by conference. The Big Ten was extremely shallow. 3 decent teams. That was it. The Big 12 was one team, Texas. You can't even say Oklahoma, even though they beat Texas. Oklahoma State got beat by South Alabama. That conference is down. Everybody wants to talk about how great the Pac-12 is. Well, we'll see. They kind of, they were playing each other. Where are their big non-conference wins? Who did the Pac-12 beat in the non-conference? That's some big non-conference win for the Pac-12. They looked like they had good teams. Remember, part of the narrative of the Pac-12 being great was Washington State and Oregon State. Well, it turned out that Washington State and Oregon State weren't really that good in the end. You can't just go by non-conference. Look at the teams that played weak non-conference schedule. Look at Michigan's non-conference schedule. They didn't even have to cheat to beat East Carolina, UNLV, and Bowling Green.
You want to talk about non-conference schedule? Talk about Oregon? First game of the season against Portland State?
Portland State's FCS.
Come on. Come on.
So let's not – that's why the Orange Bowl, Georgia at Florida State, is going to be so intriguing. If everybody plays, if everybody who's available and not injured plays, that's why the Orange Bowl is going to be so intriguing. Because this is going to be a little bit of a referendum on the ACC and the SEC. You're going to take the ACC undefeated champion and play the team that lost the SEC championship game. Let's see how that goes. Now, the only problem is going to be is if nobody's playing. Then it's going to be hard to gauge it. But if everybody who's available, Georgia needs to do what Alabama did last year. Nobody opted out. Will Anderson played. Bryce Young played. They all played. And what'd they do? They went and kicked K-State's butt.
Yeah.
And ended all that stupid conversation. And then there's this little bit of political pandering. Did I get to this before I got cut off over there? Maybe this is why I got cut off, because I went after the government.
Yeah, but I think that's when it was.
Florida State Senator Rick Scott, a Republican no less, is demanding that members of the College Football Playoff Committee turn over all text, emails, and notes related to its decision to exclude Florida State from the college football playoffs. In a letter to Boo Corrigan, the chairman of the selection committee, Senator Scott demanded, quote, total transparency from the committee regarding how this decision was reached and what factors may have been in play in reaching this outcome. How about give them a ticket to the Orange Bowl? Let them go watch Georgia play Florida State, okay? How about give them some film, some actual game film? Have him look at, I've got the letter. It's really rich. It smacks of pandering to his constituents. This is a guy, we don't know if Rick Scott knows if the ball's blown up or stuffed. But this is a guy that's pandering to his base. I'll get that in here. In the meantime, Auburn headed to Nashville. Many of you who won tickets and beat the big dog will be going to the Auburn-Maryland game now at the Transperfect Music City Bowl. We're going to have more tickets to give away over the next couple of weeks. Scott Ramsey from the Nashville Sports Council is coming up in a few minutes to tell us everything that is going up there around the game. And then at the top of the one, actually, we're going to have Ramsey after Ferguson. We're flipped him. So Ramsey will be after Ferguson. At the top of the one, Justin Ferguson will be in from the Auburn Observer. With signing day just around the corner, Auburn on the verge of a top 10 class. We'll get his thoughts on the transfer portal as well, where the quarterbacks have flooded the market. I know one thing for sure. I don't think Alabama's in that transfer portal looking for a quarterback, especially after the one they took last year is now in the lacrosse portal. Now, that was a big miss. Everybody says, well, you're just honks for Alabama. No, that was a huge miss. They went and got a quarterback out of the transfer portal that's now in the lacrosse transfer portal. Apparently, they didn't get any wrestlers or softball players. Guys in the lacrosse transfer portal.
Immediate eligibility.
Yeah.
Immediate eligibility, can be able to play.
Yeah, well, he could have immediate eligibility in football and not be able to play. All right, so all of that stuff is out there. I just got a text from Steve. It says, no problem at all. I don't know what that means. Is he connected?
I guess he got it. No, it's still black screen. I'm trying to do that while we're talking. By the way, non-conference schedule too, though. People keep forgetting that Florida State was losing to UNA with this said quarterback.
13-0 before Jordan Travis went down. Before Travis went down. That's the game he went down in. It's crazy. All right. I don't even know if this is updated. Is this updated with Brandon and Phil the Blacksmith? All right, let me get these guys in here now. Brandon is up first. Brandon, welcome to the show. How are you?
Man, I'm sitting here. I was reading a story a minute ago. Army and Navy are now in the same conference, and they're still going to play their game at the end of the season, and it may be moved, but they could end up playing back-to-back as a conference championship.
And it would be the other way around then. It would be back. Are they going to play? Because they played a week after the conference championship. So they could play in the conference championship game and then turn around and play the Army-Navy game.
Well, there's talk that they're going to take the Army-Navy game and move it to rivalry week because they're within the conference now.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if that's accurate, but they're saying we got to get that game in before the conference championship game.
Yeah.
Because they want that to count towards it. So I'm looking at that and I'm scratching my head. I'm like, okay, we finally got these two in a conference. You're probably never going to get Air Force in it because they're Mountain West. They're so far out.
Right.
But you're finally going to have some finality to that. And that's going to be interesting to see. Does the Army-Navy game stay where it's at, or does it move to rivalry week?
That'll be very interesting to see if it moves to rivalry, because you know who's available would be CBS, because they won't have the Iron Bowl, and next year they do have the Big Ten championship game, but after that they don't have it until 2028.
They were thanking CBS at the trophy celebration after the game Saturday.
Yeah.
And they were like, CBS, everybody was going, boo! And there was about a 95-year-old lady sitting next to me. And she said, why are we booing? And I said, Gary Danielson. And she didn't boo, but she just gave a big thumbs down.
Yeah.
So that was funny that all the Alabama people were booing CBS during the trophy presentation.
I personally will miss them in as much as that I thought it was special to have the feature game on a different network, a standalone network. I am just fearful that whatever the ESPN game is, first of all, are they going to rotate who the broadcasters are for it, or is the number one team? I mean, is Herb Street and Fowler, are they doing the CBS Prime game now every week? Is that all they're doing? They're not doing anything other than SEC games? I just don't know. I just hope it doesn't get lost in the inventory that ESPN has.
Well, I like Brad Nessler. I think he's a good announcer. Never been a Gary guy. Definitely wasn't a Vern guy. But I like Brad Nessler. I like Sean McDonough. I mean, there's another bald-headed guy. I ain't going to say his name because he's on another station.
Yeah.
But I like him. I mean, if he's just the sideline guy that just doing all the crazy hollering. I mean, there's a lot of good people out there. And I think that you don't always have to be the best color, but you need to be entertaining. You need to have color to your personality. Yeah. And when you're entertaining and you're fun, people will like you as long as you're not biased.
Yeah.
And I definitely am interested to see, is it going to be a set crew, or is it going to change out every week? Because
how will you know what is the big game? You know, how will you know which one is the game if it isn't the same crew? Is it going to be? Because my understanding is it's not even necessarily going to be the 3:30 Eastern game. Is it going to be is the biggest SEC game of the week going to be? No, they're saying it could be primetime. So it could be the primetime game. So, I guess it doesn't matter. You'll know based on who's on it. But if they have all of the SEC, and thanks for the call, Brandon. It's a good job by you. If they have all of the SEC inventory, then they've got to use all of the broadcasters, including Herb Street and Fowler. They'll have to be on the number one game. Phil the Blacksmith is up. Phil, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing great. How y'all doing today?
Well, better now that I'm in front of a microphone again.
Oh, yes, sir. I'll make this quick. Hey, listen, it's something that nobody ever brought up a point about this past weekend, and it has to do with Florida State. Now, I'm not trying to throw Mike Norvell under the bus.
Mm-hmm.
But now I went back and checked it, and they were only winning against Florida 17-15 when that quarterback got hit and had to come out of the game.
Which quarterback? You're talking about the
Rodemaker.
Oh, Rodemaker, yeah, when he came out, yeah, right.
Well, you can see his eyes roll back in his head if you go back and look at the video.
Yeah.
But now,
and they sent him back in. And they sent him back in again.
How in the hell did they send him back in? And he was on concussion protocol the rest of the week and couldn't even play Saturday. Now I'm telling you what, I mean, sometimes it just takes common sense to figure out why Florida State's not in it. But now Mike Norvell needs to check his tail because he sent a quarterback back in that was concussed just to try to win that ball game, and they did win the ball game. Now, whether or not it was 5 minutes left in the ball game, but they need to check themselves on when it comes to that point.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is, and a guy sitting next to me at the Baumhauers said this. Thanks for the call, Phil. I appreciate it. He said, you guys should be talking about Texas as well because everybody's busting Alabama. If Georgia beats Alabama, Texas boat racism. FSU. This is not about FSU and Alabama. This is not about FSU and Alabama. This is about FSU, Alabama, Texas, and to be honest with you, Georgia, Ohio State.
You'd be a double-digit underdog against all of those teams.
All of those teams. Grumpy is next. Grumpy, welcome to the show. How are you?
How you doing? Great, man. I just wanted to congratulate the guy that nailed the score. I only missed it by one. I had 28-24.
Oh, did you? Yeah. That's crazy.
But I missed it. But, hey, the best thing about that, the seats are great. I've sat in them before, 20 rows up. You can see over the players near the 50. The best thing, though, is, man, he's going to drive to the stadium, and he's only going to walk about 200 steps to get in.
Nice.
So the beautiful thing is that parking pass. And I just wanted to tell Alabama fans they can still get 2-1 for Alabama to win the national championship. So
what?
I've loaded up, man. I'm going to clear if Alabama wins a natty, I clear like $4,000.
You wait a minute. Alabama, the current, because I think they're second to Michigan, right? In the current, and it's 2-1.
2-1, yeah. Plus 200, yeah, 2-1.
Plus 200.
So
wow.
Hold on. That's to win the natty. That's not to.
Yeah.
That's not to. Yeah, to beat Michigan's like 105 or something. So but I just play the money line on that one. But yeah, if you're an Alabama fan and you think you're going to win it, man, load up, dude.
Yeah, get it now.
When was the last time you could get 2-1 for Alabama to win 2 ball games?
Yeah,
get it. Do me a favor.
Yeah.
I'll let you go, man. But when we say that the SEC was down, let's leave off a bit because we just sound like we're crying and we're making excuses. The SEC was down, and that's the end of the sentence. That's the way.
But it wasn't down past any other conference. Can we agree with that?
Yeah, but see, when you start doing that, you just.
Well, I think that's important to say, though, because you say the SEC was down. It doesn't mean they were the third best conference in the land. Yes, they were down. They weren't as dominant as they normally are. But what conference in the country was better than the SEC? So you still have to say Alabama won the best conference in the nation. They were, you can't keep them out.
I just think when you say a bit, when the SEC is down a bit, it's passive aggressive. It's just really looking for a response. But also, if you're out there, man, if you can make it to Nashville, I will pick you up in Nashville, drive you to the Christmas party, and drive you back to Nashville.
All right, we got news about that.
Yeah.
We got news. Stay on there. Okay, don't stand there. Hopefully he's listening. Yeah, we got breaking news. Due to circumstances beyond our control, okay, due to a scheduling snafu at Flow, the date of the Christmas party has been changed. All right, the party hasn't been canned. The party has been changed. All right, so it will not be Thursday the 14th. All right, wasn't it originally going to be Thursday the 14th?
Correct.
It's not Thursday the 14th. It's Wednesday the 20th. Okay, it's out there on all the social media. You'll get to know about it on all the social media. But it's now Wednesday the 20th. Okay, Wednesday the 20th is when we're having the toy drive / Christmas party at Flow. It'll still be at Flow. Everything remains the same. Bring your unwrapped gift for a boy or a girl, and you get admission to the deal. You get fed by Bubbies. Hey, is Bubbies good on the 20th? Did you let him know? What do you say? Is he good? You hear back from him? Okay. Got a thumbs up from Grizz. He handles Bubbies. So Bubby's is on the 20th. You'll have your food. You will have other great things that we're doing there. We'll have some prizes. We'll give away, listen to me now, we will give away 2 pair of tickets to the Auburn, Maryland Music City Bowl. All right? And we'll give away 2 pair of tickets to the Auburn, Maryland Music City Bowl. Your entry is just by bringing your gift down there to Flo. Now, we may have an opportunity for you to bring that ahead of time, and we'll let you know on that. We'll keep you posted on that deal. Why is this dude with this woman on the soap opera, on The Bold and the Beautiful, she's like 30 years younger than him?
This is why I leave it on the Quest channel.
I thought it was his daughter, and it's his girlfriend. The guy's an old man, older than me. He's an old dude, and he's got this girl that's she's like 35 years old.
Into it. They must be into it. They're happy.
I guess.
Age just number. All
right. So I got all of that out there. Was there any other business?
Have you not been watching The Golden Bachelor?
No. Oh, no. God, no. That's so skeevy. No, let me get.
I have a guy that gives me updates on that every week. It's great.
So I got a chance to get Brian in. Brian, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Fantastic.
So I have to preface this call with I look at the world through garnet gold glasses.
Okay.
As long as I've been born, as long as I've been around, I should say, our fathers taught us, and we taught our boys, wins matter.
Mm-hmm.
And the best team is a team that finds a way to win.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the biggest thing that FSU fans, and even a lot of people who aren't FSU fans outside looking in, but I think that's the biggest thing that FSU fans are struggling with. I mean, this is a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, because in most years you don't have this situation, and it would have been a no-brainer. But the reality is, I mean, that's like saying I'm not saying that the ACC is, the Sun Belt or anything like that, but or the Conference USA. But look at Liberty; they won all their games too.
I get it.
You know what I mean? Who you play is important, and it was a soft conference. And post-injury to the quarterback, I mean, that is the charge. The charge is to come up with the 4 best teams for the committee. And what are they going to do? They can't say it's not deserving, as we had yesterday with Bill Hancock. Deserving isn't part of the lexicon. Best is the only word that they're charged with. And once Alabama beat Georgia and Texas was so dominant over Oklahoma State, and, Florida State struggled to beat Louisville, it became clear that Florida State, this iteration of Florida State, is not quite at the same level as those other teams. They won one more game. There's no doubt. They won one more game, and I would stand from the mountaintop and scream, if you win a power conference, you should be in the playoff. Unfortunately, with the 14 playoff, we don't have any options because one Power 5 champ is always left out, and sometimes 2. So, but you're right.
I guess my argument is it's a team sport. And that defense, as you all know, has several
fantastic defense,
first-round players on it.
Yeah, at least a couple. Yeah.
And so, we did what we needed to do to win that game Saturday night. Was it pretty? Hell no. Was the 9-6 game without Alabama and LSU several years ago offensively pretty? No. It was hailed as a defensive battle. And that defense Saturday night showed it, and they've showed up all year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, all this together, I tend to look on both sides and hear the compelling argument that is absolutely why we didn't make it in.
I hear you, and I got to get out of here, but I appreciate you, and I understand your take. I get all of that. All right, let's get a break. We'll come back. Hour number 2 is next, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that His mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Do you have discomfort in your legs? Varicose veins can affect not only how your legs look, but how they feel. Symptoms of varicose veins include pain, swelling, aching, heaviness, and fatigue. Dr. Tracy Lowry of Best Vein Care of Huntsville can diagnose and treat your varicose veins with the latest minimally invasive techniques. Diagnosis and treatment is covered by most insurances. Call 256-715-7151 to schedule your free screening. Go to bestveincarehuntsville.com.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. A day ago, the AFC South leading Jaguars were considered one of the teams with a chance at the 1 seed in the AFC. Today, they're dealing with an injury that could cost them that and much more. Quarterback Trevor Lawrence left the Monday Night Football loss to Cincinnati with a sprained ankle. ESPN's Adam Schefter's reporting he'll undergo further testing today to determine the extent of that injury and how much time he'll miss. If Lawrence is sidelined for any amount of time, Jacksonville turns to C.J. Beathard. If Beathard does start Sunday against the Browns, it'll be his first start in close to 3 years. USC freshman Bronny James, a limited participant at practice yesterday. He is awaiting clearance for full contact practice. Coach Andy Enfield said he thinks James is on the path to being ready to play very quickly. The 19-year-old is making his way back after suffering cardiac arrest during a workout in July.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Southern Fidelity Mortgage. Think of them as a loan for everyone, offering more products than anyone else and the guaranteed lowest rates and costs in town. Of the 2,000 loans that Southern Fidelity Mortgage has pre-approved over the last 10 years, all but one have closed. That's unprecedented in the banking business. For FHA, VA, rural development, and conventional mortgages, for the best mortgage experience in town, it's Southern Fidelity Mortgage.
Call Southern Fidelity Mortgage Company at 256-656-5936.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopay. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
I have lots of fragrance lovers on my list, and Ulta Beauty has all I need to add joy to their holiday season. Shop your favorite fragrances from YSL, Carolina Herrera, Valentino, and Ariana Grande's new exclusive Cloud Pink scent. Plus, with a fragrance purchase of $70 or more, get a plush robe or throw, valued at $70, while supplies last. Shop the gifts that bring joy to everyone on your list this holiday season, especially you. Ulta Beauty, the possibilities are beautiful.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
This will turn journalism on its ear.
Watch our stream on WZZN TV on Twitch and YouTube.
But you are the greatest hero in American history.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
The opinions of Thom Abraham are not necessarily the opinions of the radio station or anybody associated with the radio station or ownership. These are strictly his own opinions, and sometimes they're not even his opinions.
You need to move more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. Hey, I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live. Here he is, the big dog.
Let's go, baby!
Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like El McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond? Get off my lawn. I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
And welcome back, hour number 2 of the Thom Abraham Show. This segment of the show brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford and the service team at Woody Anderson Ford. Not only experts in the service of Ford and other makes, but using genuine Ford and Motorcraft parts on every Ford service job, from tire rotations, wheel alignments, brake jobs, oil changes, engine tune-ups, tranny work. They do it all at the service department in a Quick Lane Tire and Auto Center. For Fords and other makes as well. Check out the certified gold pre-owned vehicles as well and all the new inventory. They're at the corner of Sparkman and Jordan Lane. It's Woody Anderson Ford. The only place I've gone in the Tennessee Valley since 2004. It's my place. It's Woody Anderson Ford. All right, joining us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, a guy that does a tremendous job covering all things Auburn from the Auburn Observer, is Justin Ferguson. Ferg, welcome in. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Tom?
I'm fantastic. So now we know, based on all the rhetoric we've heard over the last 2 days, that if Auburn just simply could have hung on to that 4th and 31 play, they probably would have been in the college football playoff now, because they will have beaten Alabama, right? I mean, that who you beat, when you beat them, how you played against them. I mean, that's what we're basing everything on, apparently.
I guess, yeah. No, it doesn't hurt, or it definitely hurts Auburn fans to sit here and think that 4th and 31 probably kept Alabama from playing for a national title this year.
There you go.
So I mean, it's just, just so many crazy things had to happen for Bama to get in this year, including the playoff committee, going against what they've done for years and years now.
Yeah.
But that's the thing about that Alabama team, though. It's not like they're not It's not like they're not national championship quality. It's not like they're not a playoff team. It's just, man, that's a really, really tough blow for Florida State, especially considering how close Alabama was to, falling off the radar this year.
Well, which would have been worse? I mean, because it was two unprecedented things, right? They were either going to leave an undefeated Power 5 conference champ out, or they were going to leave the SEC champ out, which they've never done. And, oh, by the way, the SEC has dominated the playoff. So it would seem to be – it would have been even more heinous to leave the SEC champ out than to leave a team out from the ACC. And let's be totally honest. You want to talk about a down year for the SEC, because people talk, yes, it was a down year. And certainly it was a down year for the SEC. They were still the best of all the conferences, but it was a down year for the SEC. But you want to talk about down years? Look at the ACC with Miami laying another egg, and with Clemson retreating to 8-4ville, and all of that, and North Carolina not playing up to snuff, and that was a really weak conference, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think the thing that just really hurts though is that Florida State, there's nothing more they could have done.
Right.
The fact that they're left out because A, their conference wasn't as good, and B, their quarterback broke his leg at the wrong time.
Right.
Yeah, but you're right. That's why I said just a second ago, an SEC champion Alabama, that's still probably one of the best teams in the country.
Right.
And so why I also think, this playoff expansion. If we're going to do a playoff, if we're going to have to deal with this, let's get some more teams in there, because it's just rough to that somebody had to get left out of all this, because somebody was going to be mad. Yeah. And I think the only thing worse than what they ended up doing would have been looking at Texas and Alabama and saying, well, Alabama gets in over Texas, and Texas is like, wait, hold on, we beat Bama by double digits at their place. So at least they didn't do that.
Well, and because Texas played a schedule as hard as Alabama's, and they were dominant right to the very end, winning their last two games in dominant fashion and winning their conference championship in dominant fashion. So they were going to go. I think what some people don't want to accept or realize is that if Georgia had beaten Alabama, Georgia would have been number 1, Michigan 2, Washington 3, and Texas 4. Florida State wasn't going either way. And to be honest with you, putting Florida State ahead of Georgia and Ohio State is probably wrong as well. And look at it now. I mean, Georgia's a 14-point favorite over Florida State. I mean, it's deserving is one thing, best is another.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like it seemed like the criteria kind of switched up, and there wasn't any consistency there. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Is like I think you come out of this one saying like I'm glad this thing's expanding, and I wonder if they would have done it if they weren't expanded next year. The fact that this is never going to be a problem again for them, I think, probably played a part.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Justin Ferguson with us here from the Auburn Observer. All right, so you're going to observe Auburn at the Transperfect Music City Bowl. We got Scott Ramsey from Nashville coming up in just a few minutes to talk about the Music City Bowl. Great destination here for Auburn. Big picture, again, as painful as the Iron Bowl was, as painful as New Mexico State was, big picture here. An opportunity to play a Big Ten team. Talia Tagovailoa, I assume he's playing. I mean, I assume everybody's going to play for Auburn. I don't know. You can tell us if there's opt-outs already or not. But Auburn's a 2.5-point favorite in that game in Nashville. December 30th, getting a lot of attention. Middle of the day. I mean, everything is good about it. And, I think in the end, this is a good result for Auburn.
It definitely is. I mean, you could have played farther away from home. You could have played maybe closer to Christmas, and either of those things I think wouldn't have been as good for the crowd that Auburn was going to bring. Auburn's going to show up in Nashville for sure. And yeah, I mean, we'll see if anybody opts out, doesn't play. Auburn's had a few guys going to the portal already here this cycle, but none of them have been, guys that were key players this year. You do have some guys who have accepted, Senior Bowl invites and are going to be going pro, but they haven't said, one way or another if they're going to play yet or not. I know Maryland's top defensive back opted out for this game, so that'll be interesting to see. And obviously, keep an eye on Talia Tagovailoa just because, he's probably going to be in the NFL next year. And just, that's going to be an interesting case to follow. But, yeah, I'm expecting a pretty good game. Maryland and Auburn kind of have some similarities in the fact that both of them had, losing streaks this year, had opportunities to beat really good teams and kind of fell apart, down the stretch of those games. I'm expecting a really good one for sure between those two teams. And for Auburn, it's, big picture wise, win or a loss isn't really going to hurt you, grand scheme of things. You're recruiting really, really well. If you're Auburn, just flipped Cam Coleman from Texas A&M. Auburn got close to a top 10 class right now. They're already working in the transfer portal. So, I mean, win or lose, you're still on track for what you want to do in this offseason. But it is an opportunity. If you go out and get a win, it ends the streak of losing seasons that Auburn's had. If they lose this game, it'll be 3 straight losing seasons, which would be a tough pill to swallow. You win that game, you get a little momentum moving forward, get some stuff for people to be excited about heading into 2024. So it should be an interesting matchup. I think it'll be a really good game, and it'll just be a matter of, hey, if Auburn can, kind of play a complete game away from home against a team that's, probably around their caliber this season.
Well, and when you look at it, you mentioned the Cam Coleman flip, right? A kid out of out of Phoenix City, and so he's going to play close to home, and that's great for him. But 6'3", 180-pound, 5-star wide receiver, number 1 wide receiver in the country, number 1 in the state, number 8 in the country. But you pair him with Perry Thompson, another 6'3", 202-pounder. And if you're Peyton Thorne, I don't know what you're thinking about, but you got to be thinking, dang, I got these 2 young pup receivers coming in. I need to hang around right here and work on my game because I want to be throwing to these guys. I mean, they're going to me, when you look at Auburn's wide receiver core, these 2 guys have an opportunity to contribute immediately.
Absolutely. This has got a potential to be the best receiver class Auburn's had maybe ever. Obviously one of the best in the country this year. I mean, you look at the biggest gap that Auburn had on their team this year is just they didn't get enough out of their wide receivers, specifically their outside receivers, specifically guys who would go up and make plays downfield. You got some from your slot guys. You got some this season from your tight end or Rapaldo Fairweather, but you just didn't really get enough out of your outside receivers. Auburn's coming in and saying, hey, you 2 can play right away. I mean, Auburn has only signed 1 5-star receiver ever, and they've got 2 in this class. They're going to try to make it 3 down the stretch, because they're going to try to push after Ryan Williams, whose dad played at Auburn, but obviously he's been committed to Alabama for a long time, and he's an elite, great talent who could reclassify to this 24 class. So Auburn's going to try to push it there. But even if they don't get Ryan Williams, even if he stays locked in with Alabama, I mean, you're talking about a class that could really change what Auburn wants to do. And it's not just those two guys. They've got Bryce Kane out of Mobile, who's a 4-star, Malcolm Simmons, who's from right down the road here, at Benjamin Russell. He's a high 4, he's a 4-star as well. I mean, they've got a group of wideouts right now that they really, really like moving forward. Caleb Burton finished last season strong. He was a really good receiver prospect coming out of Ohio State, transferred last year, so he's still young, got several years of eligibility left. It's going to be a young group next season, and Auburn's already trying to go into the portal and pick off some more guys. They offered Will Shepard from Vanderbilt, a couple other guys yesterday. They're trying to remake it because that's the big thing. And, a lot of people talked heading into the portal season that, hey, Auburn's going to be a contender. Auburn's going to be going after all these quarterbacks. And we'll see if they end up doing that. But Auburn has not been, at least, publicly linked with a lot of these QBs right now. And instead, it's been a lot more of these other positions. And so if you're Peyton Thorne, you're going to come back next year and maybe you have a stronger arsenal of receivers to throw to. And obviously, Cam Coleman and Perry Thompson are going to be key pieces to that.
That quarterback room is going to get a little bit crowded. You got to figure somebody's going to leave, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you got the Robbie Ashford, Holden Geriner, and then Walker White is already, he's going to be coming in. I assume he'll sign on December 20th as well. 6'3", 215-pound kid out of Little Rock Christian Academy in Arkansas. So you got that kid coming in as well. There are still some interesting quarterbacks, obviously, in the transfer portal. Yeah. What's your take on that? I mean, with the way Thorne ended up the season, do you see them looking at any of these guys? Dante Moore, Cameron Ward still available, Will Howard from K-State. Are any of these guys any better? Dylan Gabriel from Oklahoma hasn't committed anywhere. Kyle McCord from Ohio State. I don't understand why he's in there, but he's in there. Are any of these guys, would they be a market improvement, over what you got with Peyton Thorne and with the young guys already in the mix?
Yeah, I think it would be one of those situations where I don't think Auburn can promise as much stuff as other teams can in the quarterback room. Like, other teams are going to these portal quarterbacks and saying, hey, you're our guy, right? Here's the keys. Boom, go for it. I don't think Auburn's going to do that. Auburn didn't really do that last year with Peyton Thorne. They didn't really do it last year with any of those guys in the early window either. There's a thought where Peyton Thorne, with a full offseason, keep in mind he did not come in until the summer last year.
Right.
With a full offseason could be that experienced arm Auburn needs, already knows the system. Just, hey, upgrade the talent around them, turn it loose. I think Auburn can be in the mix for these quarterbacks. But again, if these guys are wanting to go and want to be guaranteed starting jobs, I don't think they're going to get that at Auburn because I just don't think that's how Hugh Freeze is going to handle it. I think he sees Thorne as a guy who can get better. I think that he sees that quarterback room as an area that they can get better, and he wants to kind of continue to foster a culture of competition and not just, hand a guy a job. So it's interesting. There's a lot of really good quarterbacks, and I do think it would make sense if Auburn kind of played it safe a little bit or kind of slow played in the portal, meaning this, you would think, you're right, you would think that somebody leaves out of that group, whether it's a Robbie Ashford or Holden Geriner. We'll see if those guys are ready to transfer. Like, say if it's Robbie Ashford, well, Ashford's already made his transfer, so he'd have to be a graduate before he could move, kind of like what TJ Finley did last year. So it may be a little while before we know any news about that. And in that case, if they need another quarterback or if they want somebody to push on, it might not be one of these top market items. We all know what these coaches are saying and going around saying, hey, it costs $1 million, $2 million to get a really good quarterback. If you're Auburn and you're looking at your NIL budget, what you can go out and use, do you feel like you need to go do that on a quarterback when you have Peyton Thorne coming back, or do you spread that money out elsewhere? And it's early, but, based on what we saw with the offers that went out yesterday from Auburn in the transfer portal, it looks like they might be more, make much more of a priority getting defensive linemen, wide receivers, defensive backs, and upgrading that way.
Justin Ferguson with us here on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. All right, finally, we have got Auburn basketball in the Tennessee Valley in a couple of weeks. They will be playing UNC Asheville. Why a game is sold out, by the way. A lot of excitement for it here in town. We'll be giving away a nice little ticket package for it as well. But why are they losing to Appalachian State? What happened there? Don't do that.
They couldn't shoot. They could not shoot at all in that game. It was one of the worst shooting performances you'll ever see from Auburn. They were missing wide open threes left and right. Just did not have the shooting. Meanwhile, on the other end of the floor, App State was hitting tough shots, and Auburn just couldn't hit anything. And it's one of those games where Auburn's in a rut right now, shooting the ball. They're going to have to fix that. They're going to have to find ways to kind of help themselves out on offense. Bruce Pearl said, hey, early in the year we were really good on offense, and then teams got the scout on us. They've got the book on us a little bit more. They've adjusted. We've got to adjust back. So that's going to be key to watch for them this weekend against Indiana. But, yeah, I mean, I think the silver lining from Auburn in that game is that they shot one of the worst. It was one of the worst shooting performances you'll ever see from the Auburn team, and they still had a real chance to win against an App State team that's top 100 in KenPom, pretty good net rating, like not a bad team whatsoever. So I think the defense is doing a good job of carrying this team right now. They've just got to figure out some things on offense. They've got time to do it. They play Indiana this weekend. They'll go play UNC Asheville as well, like you said, up in Huntsville, and then they get USC here coming up. So they've got time to work it out. But, yeah, this was just, I was up there in Boone. It was just a really miserable game for Auburn because they had wide open looks. And they just couldn't get them to fall. And, they need to turn that around because, it's just you got to start knocking them down. It's not like it's not like last season where they were just grinding it out, not getting any good looks. They got really good looks. They just didn't hit them. So they're gonna have to figure out how to turn that around here coming up against in these games away from home.
Justin Ferguson has been our guest. Ferg, always great to talk to you. I appreciate it, and we'll be able to continue the conversation through signing day and talk some Auburn hoop as well as time moves on. Everything you need to know right there at the Auburn Observer. Thanks, Justin.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right. We got a break in here. By the way, now Ron DeSantis, I hadn't seen this. When did this come across the board? What is today, 5th? So this came across this about an hour ago. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has budgeted $1 million for a lawsuit to fight the really poor decision on the college football playoff. I mean, you people need to stop this.
Boo-hoo.
I mean, just boo-hoo is right. Just become a political football. Now, the only thing that will ruin this now is that, like, for Trump to come out and support Alabama. If Trump could come out and say, like, roll tide, that'll be the end of it. He'd win the whole thing.
When he at the South Carolina game, so he was at an SEC game, so.
Yeah. I mean, that's all he needs to do. Continue to pandering. And Joe Biden can come out and say, what? Nobody would know what he said. All right, let's get a break in here. When we return, Scott Ramsey is up next. Then we'll get your phone calls in. It's Thom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey, Wes. Our company, Fleming Roofing and Restoration, specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a 5th-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10-plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
Have a drink at the Open Bottle, a copious selection of wine, spirits, and craft beer from around the world. They've got a full bar, wine by the glass, craft cocktails, premium bourbon, 48 specialty beers on tap, and a smart staff with hustle. There's an expansive, comfortable patio with a brand new performance stage and live music every night from local artists like Lamont Landers, Rob Aldridge, and James Urban. There's space for your next celebration or corporate event. The Open Bottle on Highway 72 near Slaughter Road intersection in Madison.
Hey there, Bob Baumhauer here to enjoy another great football season with y'all. And guess what? The salmon are running, so make sure you try our delicious lemon garlic salmon. And for you land lovers, try our sizzling char-grilled flat iron Callaway steak, complemented with our special shrimp etouffee. And you'll definitely want to tackle our Alabama hot chicken, smothered in our zesty and tangy, immune-boosting special Alabama hot sauce. Baumhauer's legendary fun and legendary food.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Your home of the Crimson Tide Sports Network.
You chill out when you're supposed to chill out. You work when you're supposed to work. You don't chill out when you're supposed to be working.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
And welcome back, Thom Abraham Show. Segment of the show is brought to you by North Alabama Mortgage. Whether you're listening in Alabama, Tennessee, or Florida, North Alabama Mortgage has you covered for all your mortgage needs. Yes, average home equity is at an all-time high, but so is average consumer debt. So if you're thinking about, well, those high rates, yeah, check out those rates on the credit cards. You might want to pay those off. And then you always refi your home when the rates come back down, and they will come back down. So check that out. And don't put off that home purchase as well, because when rates do drop, the prices are going to go up even more on property. So buy now, get the best price, refi when the rates drop. Grizz, I spoke too soon. I made that crack. I was just joking when I made that crack about Trump. Trump is blaming DeSantis for Florida State not getting in. He said he's a terrible lobbying effort by DeSantis.
He didn't do it good enough.
It's his fault.
It wasn't good enough. You're fired. You're fired.
Oh, my gosh. These politicians are killing me, man. They are killing me. All right, joining us now. Not a politician. He deals with politicians, but he's not a politician. He just has been a part of putting together one of the best bowl game experiences in all of the country, and with the Transperfect Music City Bowl, and from the Nashville Sports Council, my good friend Scott Ramsey. Scott, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good, Tom. How are you guys today?
We're just having so much fun over the last 36 hours or so with everybody's minds coming unglued over this whole decision that was made to I don't call it drop Florida State. I call it skip Florida State, with Alabama and Texas. You know, people don't want to include Texas. Alabama and Texas jumping over Florida State. They didn't drop Florida State. They just moved those other teams past based on the final results. But man, I wouldn't want to have to be in that room.
Yeah, you know, I mean, from my view, we really just try to kind of sit here and view it from the lens of Nashville. So, you know, it certainly it changes a lot of the dominoes on, you know, who was going to be available for us, and we had kind of played out a lot of the either-or situations, and we were fortunate that you know, we were able to kind of continue to be locked into Auburn. We just felt like that was the right fit this year, and I feel like the Saturday game and their fan base support in Nashville was a good fit. And fortunately for us, you know, that didn't create any kind of change for us in aligning with Auburn on the SEC side this year.
So I speculated going in that it would be either Auburn or Tennessee. Tennessee's always a great draw there. Of course, all our listeners in North Alabama, all the way down towards Birmingham, are very excited to be able to go to Nashville and see Auburn and what is a really convenient trip and a great location. But pull back the curtain for us like you do every year and just talk a little bit about how did that come about with that next group of 6 bowls and everybody picking and that Tennessee goes in one direction and you guys end up with Auburn.
Yeah, the SEC and the Big Ten run 2 very different processes, and so I think it started, Tom, with the final analysis of the top 25 poll and who's going to make the New Year's Six, which is a more important number for us dictating on who we're going to get than just the top 4. Certainly there's a collaboration there, but, pulling up Ole Miss and Penn State eliminated those 2 teams from being available in the Big Ten and the SEC pool, and it created a reshuffling a little bit. Fortunately on the SEC side, again, our rule of thumb kind of in the pool of 6 is to avoid a team more than once in a 3-year period, if at all possible. So, Tennessee and Kentucky, we had the last 2 years, to your point about Tennessee, that, wasn't going to be here unless things were just very, very unique, which kind of limited really the selection options there. But we felt like Auburn, we've only had them twice in this our 26th year, 2003 and then 2018 more recently. We felt like was the one that kind of aligned. We felt like A&M with their changes of coaches, stay closer to home in Houston, felt like that was going to align there. And so we're fortunate. On the Big Ten side, though, it did create a little bit of an either-or for us. I mean, at Penn State somehow got pushed down into the Citrus Bowl. That was going to create an opportunity of an either-or for either Wisconsin or Maryland. And then also the Orange Bowl opponent to the ACC, regardless of who it was going to dictate that as well. And then they were either going to vacate Tampa, who picks right in front of us, or Big Ten was going to fill Tampa. So as it worked out, it's Maryland. We're excited. We've never had Maryland. They were on uptick. They were plus 20% on their home attendance this year. Easy flights, Baltimore to Nashville, again, Saturday game time. And part of the mission of our bowl is to kind of expose our cities to some new fan bases. So we're excited about that. It's our 31st different team in our 26 years that we're hosting here. And, so we're anxious to kind of get going. First 2 days have been great, and the teams roll in later this week for their operations and site surveys, and we'll be off and running.
It's going to look different, too. I mean, watching Titans games has been different with the synthetic turf field, and in years past you've had issues with that. It is an outdoor stadium in an area that could be affected by weather. You guys have been blessed with good weather most of the time, but, I think from a visual standpoint, instead of seeing a field that, maybe has all the markings of the Titans on it and bare spots and everything else, it's going to really present a good visual on what is a very, very good playing service.
Yeah, I agree, Tom. You and I have talked about this in the past, and I think there's 2 sides to the coin. I think first and foremost, everybody wants a safe playing field. I don't think anybody's ever going to argue that we want it to be as safe as possible for players. I know that's been a big topic of conversation of grass versus the synthetic, but they decided to go that way, and I think from the other side of the coin, for us, it's done a couple things that are positive. One, to your point, it's going to be consistent. So you're not going to have a lot of the dormant Bermuda. You're not going to have spots that have grown in, spots that haven't. A lot of times the mid part of the field gets really worn down to your part. And if you catch some cold or wet or dewy days, I mean, it's slippery and dead. So now it could be with turf as well, but it gives us a chance also to kind of tighten up our scheduling and maximize the use of our facility. I'll give you an example of last year. We always kind of target December 30 because it fits in strategically with our city. So fans can come to the game, fill up our hotels, fill up our city. If you'd like to stay for New Year's Eve, you can. If not, the hotels can turn that over for our New Year's Eve event. Well, last year, 30th fell on Friday, right after the Thursday night Titans-Cowboys primetime game. So we got shifted to Saturday with our partnership with ESPN, thankfully, but we really had to sweat the weather on Friday to turn the field to get it playable for the bowl game on Saturday morning. So, it was a lot of variables. It was a lot of variables every year on the scheduling with the dormant grass. So it's a positive from our seat as far as someone who's trying to use the stadium on a regular basis in and around the NFL schedule.
Scott Ramsey with us here from the Music City Bowl and the Nashville Sports Council. It's going to be a great weekend up there in Nashville. We're giving away some tickets to send some people up there for Auburn and Maryland. I think it's going to be a really competitive football game. There's no doubt about that. I got to ask you a question, though. When next year with the playoffs expanding, it was hard to fill the whole playoff or the whole bowl field this year because there was a number of teams. You didn't have enough 6-6 teams, and that kind of question came up. Next year, because of this first round of the playoffs and these games that are going to be played on campus, does that take a certain number of teams now out of the bowl mix, or has there been any conversation whatsoever about a team that plays in a playoff game, 2 weeks after the season ends, still being eligible to play in a bowl game during the holidays, which would be 2 weeks later? It's no different really than playing in a conference championship game, if you will, and then playing in a bowl game.
Well, there's going to be a lot of changes, and nothing's definitive right now. But as far as the number of teams question, it'll be 12. I mean, there are 12 in the New Year's Six now. Now, with the realignment and expansion of some conferences, that will happen next year, and ironically at the same time of the 12-team playoff. We're still. This is our fourth year of a 6-year agreement with the SEC and the Big Ten. All the bowls have their conference alignment, their broadcast deals, their title sponsor agreements through that timeline. There's going to be some modifications, Tom. I can't tell you what those are yet because we really haven't heard the preferences from our conference partners. But I do not get any sense that there's any movement toward teams playing 2 games in December. I think if you're in the playoff, you're in the playoff, and you're going to go there to win in advance, and that's going to be your postseason experience. So we'll see how that goes, but I really expect the first quarter of 2024 for things to really get kind of talked through for 24 and 5. And then remember, again, the slate is clean for 2026 and beyond. So, that's going to include our new stadium. That's going to include opportunities for championship game down the road. And, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for us. And, right now it's still a little up in the air as the dust settles a little bit on some realignment, some of the other issues at the CFP level.
Yeah, I guess this all falls under unintended consequences. I'm just trying to think of it. You make the playoff. You're in an 8-9 game. You're playing on the road at somebody else's building. It's not a bowl game. It's December 15th. You play that game, you lose that game, and that's it. Your season's over. It's going to feel more like a regular season game or a conference championship game, but it's not the bowl game experience. And then those teams, which were, top 12 teams in the country, ostensibly, they disappear. 4 of them will disappear December 15th or thereabouts. They disappear, right. And they didn't get a bowl experience. There's a lot more activity that goes around going and playing in a bowl game than there is, playing in that playoff game. I understand you want to be in the playoffs, but I hate it for those 4 teams that lose in that first round to miss out on a bowl experience.
You make a good point, but at this point in time, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
And, I think back 4 years ago when we did the 6-year agreement or the current 6-year agreement we're working under now, and to think back 4 years ago, and it was before COVID, and we had to get through a COVID cancellation year. We had massive realignment happen, and now we've got within the contract cycle an expansion of the playoff model for a 2-year window, and then we're going to turn around and probably have to recreate, postseason as a macro model in 3 years. So to think in that 5 or 6 year period, there's been that much disruption in college sports and college football and postseason football. It is pretty astounding, really.
I hope it always is SEC and Big Ten because that's kind of the big two now. I mean, really with the teams that are coming in, with the possibility of it being in Oklahoma or a Texas or a or Oregon or Washington, teams like that down at USC could be playing in the Transperfect Music City Bowl or something along those lines. I just think it makes it that much sexier, and you guys do such a tremendous job out there. And just tell folks how they can get tickets now, especially the Auburn fans. There might be some Maryland fans listening, I don't know. But the Auburn fans, tell them how they can get their tickets and everything that's going on around the bowl game on the 30th and on that weekend.
Well, first of all, just come visit Nashville. I know the Auburn fans have great affinity for our city, and it's the same way we feel about them. I mean, it's been a great experience over the years of hosting a lot of SEC events here with Auburn, and we're looking forward to having them for the third time in the game. And MusicCityBowl.com, jump on there. SeatGeek also has them, and you can obviously get them through Titan Stadium. It's the first time these two teams have played since 1983 when the teams featured Bo Jackson and Boomer Esiason. How about that?
There you go. That's a great point. All right, always appreciate you, Scott. Great stuff, and I appreciate the partnership that we've had over the years, and we continue to have. And we had a lot of fun with it for Beat the Big Dog, giving away tickets, and for our Grand Trifecta, the guys getting the club level seating and the parking pass. Everybody raves about the parking pass. You're going to park 200 yards away from the stadium. The parking pass. So that's all good stuff, man. I appreciate you.
Well, that's great, Tom. We appreciate you, and hope you and your family have a blessed Christmas, and hopefully we'll see you in Nashville.
All right, same right back to you. Appreciate it. Scott Ramsey. He's a good guy. He and I go back to 2007, I guess. Yeah, about 2007. He's been a good friend. All right, let's get a break. When we Mongo just hit the text window. UCF just called. Said they have a championship banner that FSU could borrow. Yeah. What about UCF? Yeah. Come on. They were undefeated.
Same logic. Just put Liberty in there.
Why did they get a
roll
bite
the
of
dice and see what happens.
The only thing that makes a difference between Liberty
is because they're Power 5.
It's a Power 5 conference, but the question is it really a Power 5 conference?
I could see the same thing about Washington. Is it really?
It's kind of a crappy Power 5 conference.
I mean, I get it. Like some of these head-to-head maybe matchups were better for the Pac-12.
Clemson was
Arizona was playing better this year, but like they hyped Colorado way too early in the season. They had 4 wins on the season. They just hyped the Pac-12 because it was the last year.
Who's better, Pac-12 or ACC?
I mean, the best two are Oregon and Washington.
Both would have won the ACC.
Correct. They would have beat Florida State. They probably would have beat Clemson. Would they beat Clemson?
Yes. Yeah. Clemson was 8-4.
They definitely would have beat Miami. I'm not even going to. Yeah.
Yeah. Miami, Clemson. Not very good.
North Carolina kind of
was
fell.
Okay, but they didn't. Yeah. They weren't what they were supposed to be. I mean, the Appalachian State almost beat them again.
Louisville's
all right. I mean, Louisville got pounded by Kentucky, a middle of the pack SEC team. Yeah. I mean, really.
Slightly better.
You don't want
slightly better.
I think the Pac-12 was better than the ACC.
Yeah.
But they were talking like the Pac-12 was the best conference in the country at the beginning of the year.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh, the Pac-12. But there was a lot of romanticism. Because of the
everybody keeps talking
they
about
were going away.
Everybody keeps talking about Washington was healthy and they beat Oregon. They still beat Oregon by 3.
They beat Oregon twice though.
And
that's hard to do.
That's hard to do. It was a close game, and they had a close game throughout the couple of weeks before that.
And they beat other good teams. Yeah. Washington deserves to be there.
Yeah.
Washington deserves to be there. They beat some good teams throughout the year. I think Washington deserves to be there. I do. And I think Texas deserves to be there. Michigan, cheating aside, I think Michigan deserves to be there. Although, the interesting thing is, like, if you had told me Texas won, I'd have bought that.
Yeah.
Michigan, I think the book is still out a little bit.
Well, here's the thing about Michigan,
they
were
pounding the crap out of people, but they were really playing a
Well, here's the thing about Michigan, though, too. Last year, Michigan lost to TCU, and Michigan, who did they play in their conference championship game? An 8-4 Purdue team.
Yeah.
And they played a 10-2 Iowa team that should be an 8-4, 7-5 Iowa team.
That was a miracle that team was 10-2. That team being 10-2 tells you everything you need to know about the Big Ten.
Yeah.
That Iowa team being 10-2.
But Penn State's still sitting at 10. They haven't even moved all year. They've been sitting at 10 for like 6 weeks now.
Yeah. Now and
they're the third best team technically in the Big Ten.
Well, they are. And in the Matrix, I mean, it's amazing where it shows, how good Penn State really is when you look at just those 2 losses. And Penn State, where are they going? To Peach Bowl? All right, they'll be at the Peach Bowl. So, Penn State gets that draw as well. All right, we got a break in here. When we come back, we hit the phone lines. You guys that are on the line, we're going right to you when we return on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Thom Abraham here for my friends at North Alabama Mortgage. Are you thinking about home improvements? Well, use your equity now and refi later. Or use your equity to eliminate consumer debt forever, then refi to a lower rate and shorter term when rates drop. North Alabama Mortgage can also help you if you're thinking about buying an investment property or a second home at the lake or the beach or in the mountains. We have great programs to make that happen. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
With us today, Dr. Tracy Lowry of Best Vein Care of Huntsville.
When we evaluate a patient and they indeed have significant venous disease, most third-party payers, private insurance, Medicare, require us to treat every patient conservatively at least 90 days. Conservative treatment includes increasing ambulation, elevation of the legs, and the wearing of compression stockings. It's very common for folks to come see us in March or April wanting to have their veins fixed before they go into swimsuits starting in June. When we see someone in March or April, they're going to require at least 90 days of conservative treatment before we can even go to the insurance carrier to get permission to treat their veins. So if you think you have a venous problem, now is the time to come in and get a free screening so we can determine whether or not you need something evaluated. If you have a vein problem or you think you may have a vein problem, now's the time to contact us at bestveincarehuntsville.com.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
Listen to the Bama Recap Show each Sunday morning at 11, presented by Freedom Marine Center on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Harry is hitting the text window with details on the 1983 Auburn-Maryland game between Boomer Esiason and his Terrapins and Bo Jackson. and the Auburn Tigers. He didn't give me what the final score was. Tommy Agee, the up back in the Wishbone, ran for like 200 yards in that game. But how cool would it be if the Music City Bowl figured out a way to get Boomer Esiason and Bo Jackson to Nashville to be like honorary captains? You know what I mean? I mean, that would be a pretty cool thing. All right, this segment of the show is brought to you by the Orthopedic Center. They are the orthopedic specialists that pretty much every school in the region uses. It's TOC Sports. Alabama A&M and Huntsville Havoc rely on them as well. They've got the right specialist for you. It's North Alabama's largest sports medicine provider, TOC Sports. Stay in the game with TOC Sports. LSU Lynch is up. Lynch, welcome to the show. How are you?
Well, apparently y'all had a bunch of technical difficulties down there. Were you eating chicken wings? Is that what
I was there? No. We found out what happened. I don't even know if Grizz knows what happened. The cabinet that where the Ethernet line, where we hook up to the Ethernet, the cabinet ran over the Ethernet cable and broke the cable. So the cable down there at Baumhauer's was damaged, and that's why that's what the problem was. And so Grizz, I think Moulton's been down there hooked up for a while, or he was hooked up for a while. He had hooked up because he ran a new Ethernet cable.
He should be up right now.
Yeah.
He was on cue. I had him up earlier. He just didn't say anything.
So you got everything working now, Moulton?
Boy, it tastes really good down here.
Yeah.
It's really
Lord,
good.
I got a threesome going on. Really?
Yeah, you got a threesome with Moulton. He's down there eating. He's getting a chicken wing stuck in his throat.
By the way, Auburn won 35-23 in 1983.
Yeah. So it was the big. We didn't do it. It was the big cart that ran over the line and broke the line, right?
That's right. Yep. Yeah,
Right.
It was indeed.
What are you eating?
Black and white.
Okay. All right. I had the wrap. I forgot to have the Drew DeArmond stay off the phone line special. I didn't get that. Don't call my show special from Drew DeArmond. I
That
forgot.
would require you to zoom in, Tom.
Yeah, I would. I almost zoomed in. All right, Steve. Go back to eating. I'm going to talk to LSU Lynch. All right, Lynch. So what's going on?
Hey, look here. Let me give a shout out to Kramer. Can we do that?
Yeah,
Shout
some
out
love to Kramer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
Because look here, my point is being, I'm a loser. I'm used to losing and everything, and I look here. This was my best weekend ever on the show, and I still lost. And I don't understand. Look here, if you're a Florida State fan, shut the hell up, because listen to me. Okay? I won Washington, Texas, FSU, and Michigan. And I even
8 points
on Alabama. And I still can't get a damn Tempest free chicken. You hear me?
8 points the guy got. He got 8 points on the deal, and we had some guy, Bowling JJ, nailed the score of the Alabama game, and Grumpy was off by 1 point.
Exactly. And congrats. Because, see, look here, but as I was talking to you, I said 24-23,
Yeah.
And and congrats. I mean, congrats to everybody that wins. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you weren't off by much.
That's going to be a good game. But I'm going to end it with this right here. Look here, Florida State. There's a reason that you call Florida stuck, because you do have Disneyland down there, and you can take that with your rainbow colors, because your state still looks like a lip peanuts like your football team. Go LSU.
Yeah. Yeah, Lynch knows how to end a call. There's no doubt about it. Was Grumpy gone, Grizz? I don't know if that was today or yesterday. I'm still discombobulated. He's gone? Okay. Jeremy is up. Jeremy, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. I got a question for you
Yeah.
that I don't know if anybody's asked.
Yeah.
So you were talking about these playoff teams next year. They won't go to a bowl game.
Yeah.
So there's 12 teams that are getting taken out of the bowl system next year. And they're having trouble this year covering
4.
6-win teams.
4 will be actually, 8. 8 will be taken out of the bowl game, because the 4 that get the buys, all right, which would be like the top 4 this year, those 4 would have buys. They're playing in bowl games. They're just playing in, they're playing in the same bowl games they're playing in now. They're New Year's 6 bowl games. So they are going to be in bowl games, and that second round is going to be bowl games too. So when they go so the first weekend they're going to have 4 games on campus. Those 4 losers, though, as of December 16th, they're out. And so those 4 teams are gone from the bowls. The 4 winners, along with the 4 bye teams, those 8 teams, they will play in bowl games. All right, so they'll play their first round in bowl games, then they'll play again in bowl games for the finals to the semifinals, and then of course the championship. So, but we are losing 4 quality teams. We're losing 4 really good teams from the bowls. The 4 teams that lose in the first round of the playoff.
So, is it in the world of NIL? Is there nothing that that somebody can't do? I mean, in the NIT, the 2 semifinal teams that lose still play each other. They're playing.
That's a great idea. What about putting the 4 teams together in a bowl game, in an early season bowl game? Then the 4 losers. You know what I mean? That would be great. Because those would be good. Those would be good teams. You know what I mean? Those would be teams that are top 10 teams, and that would be kind of cool. Put them together in a bowl game.
And you could find a sponsor for that. I mean, there's bound to be somebody that would want to sponsor that game, because that just be more money advertising wise.
And why? Right, and I don't understand, if the 4 teams that won can play again in 2 weeks, why can't the 4 teams that lost play in 2 weeks? To say that, well, no, we can't do that. They played in the playoffs. They can't play in a bowl game and play 2 games in a month of December. Why not? The teams that win are going to play again. I mean, theoretically, you're going to have a team that's a 5 seed. They're going to host a game on campus on the 15th. They're going to then play a bowl game, on another bowl game, and then they're going to play another game, and then possibly the championship game. So. Yeah.
Well, and I think something like that would work. I think it would be good for the sport. It'd be good for, who is the other team besides Jacksonville State that was petitioning to get into
James
a bowl
Madison?
game?
Did they get it? Did they get a bowl game? Why didn't they get a bowl game? Why did Jacksonville State get to have one and James Madison can't?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out, because didn't James Madison?
They're playing Duke. They're playing Duke in the.
No,
I'm sorry.
Troy is playing Duke.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize. They're playing Air Force.
James Madison?
They're playing Air Force. I apologize. I was looking at that.
Right, so they did put them in.
Yes.
Well, good. That's good. At least they're getting to get into a bowl game. I was pulling for them in Jacksonville State to get into one anyway.
Yeah.
But it still baffles me why they had to go to the NCAA and plead their case when they win anyway.
Yeah, they didn't even have to sue anybody.
They didn't even have to do anything.
They didn't even have to have a senator come to their rescue or do anything like that. I appreciate.
FSU ain't got nothing to complain about, because they were griping about their conference at the beginning of the year, and their conference said, you know what, you're going to gripe about us, and guess what, at the end of the year, we're not really going to stand up for you. We don't care if you get 9-4 or not.
Thanks for the call, Jeremy. That's a good job by you. FSU told everybody the ACC sucked, and then they don't understand why they don't get to go. Well, you want a sucky division, sucky conference. What can I tell you? All right, that's going to do it. What a convoluted show this was. We'll do more tomorrow, but coming up next, it's the Paul Feinbaum Show on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
The dogs are done.
You've got to experience Toyota Thom.